Attendance is very poor. It's still single digit. What is the reason?
Hello.
The attendance is very poor. What is the reason? Still single digit.
सर
Now,
एक्चुअली तरसे सर का जो लेक्चर था ना वो ऑलमोस्ट मतलब वो 11:10 को खत्म हो जाता ना, उसकी जगह पे वो 11:20 25 तक तरसे सर का लेक्चर एंड हुआ, तो अभी सब ज्वाइन करेंगे सर।
ओके ओके ठीक है. I hope the screen is visible. Hello Shubham, the screen is visible, no?
यस सर।
Work measurement. So that's another module, module 2. So as I said earlier, in module 1, we have completed introduction to industrial engineering, productivity, method study, that is 1.2. Now in module 1 itself, now we have 1.3, that is work measurement, and 1.4, that is job evaluation and wage plan. So we are discussing work measurement. Module 1 is the biggest one. So what is work measurement? It can be defined as it is an application of techniques which is designed to establish the time for a qualified worker. See, it is this term has to come qualified worker or a representative worker to carry out specified jobs at a defined level of performance. See, this is again important. That is, we are defining the level of performance. We want industrial engineer, he wants like this. Okay, you, the representative worker or qualified worker, cannot do at his pace. He cannot do at his pace. Okay, so that's why this term is important at a defined level of performance or at a defined rate of working. So even this definition is sufficient. You don't have to go for alternative definition. And what do you mean by qualified worker? Qualified worker is a representative. He is representing on behalf of the group of the workers. So qualified worker is one who has acquired the skill, qualification, knowledge, and other attributes means other characteristics to carry out the work which has been assigned to him as per the satisfactory standards, as per the need, as per the satisfactory standards of the quantity, quality, and safety. Then what do you mean by defined rate of working? See, everything has to be properly documented. Everything should be clear. And this is what you learn in big companies, in MNCs. hmm, How the systems, how the procedures, this what you learn in big companies, which you may not learn in small companies. Small companies may you will get exposure to all the departments because there one person has to do multiple activities. Whereas this is the advantage of working in small companies. Disadvantage of working in big companies that if you have been given one particular department, it may happen that you work in that department throughout your tenure till your retirement. I suppose if you have been given drilling shop, then maybe it may happen that you may work in the same department till your retirement. If engine shop is assigned, you may work in engine shop till your retirement, and that's why the people find it boring. And if they do not get other department, then they may leave, and that's why the concept of job rotation also has come in industrial engineering. Job rotation, that is, you have to keep rotating the job so that the interest of the peoples, not only of the workers and of the engineers also, is kept alive. So what is defined rate of working? It is the amount of work that can be produced or that is expected by a qualified worker. It is the most important slide. When working at normal space, nahi, normal pace. This is the space is wrong. Normal pace. Normal pace means speed. He should not be too fast. At the same time, he should not be too slow also. And effectively utilizing his time, and where work is not restricted by process limitation. So this is what is called the defined rate of working, can be asked for the 2 mark. So work measurement, it is the application of techniques as we learn different techniques designed to establish the time taken for a qualified worker to carry out a specified job at a defined level of performance. This is what the definition you need to remember. So what it contains, what it means find out the different elements of the production processes, find out the time taken by each element. That is, you have to, as I have been telling again and again, that there are something called as the thurbling. You have to divide your work into small elements and find out the time taken by each element, and then fix up the standard time for performing the production process. There is something called the standard time, something called the normal time. So both the times are different. So objective of work measurement, what for we are doing this work measurement? It is to reveal the nature, that where is the non-value added time? What is the non-value added time? What is the ineffective time? Okay, so to reveal the nature and extent of ineffective time, you have to identify the cause and you have to reduce that ineffective time, so that you can take the corrective action to reduce the ineffective time, and you can set the standards of performance which are achievable. See, always the targets, whatever work has been assigned, or whatever time you are dictating, that should be achievable, right? And that's why we take the time study to actually see whether the time which has been given by the industrial engineering department can be achieved or not. And then once the time study is done, once the actual time is taken, then with a mutual agreement between uh, union and management, the normal time is fixed, and based on that the incentive schemes are decided. So the objectives of work measurement are many. That is, you can devise alternative method, you can assess the correct initial manning, that is, you allocate the people's manning means you are allocating the manpower. So you should have very good interpersonal skills, you should have very good soft skills You should have very good communication skill in industry when you are working in industry. You have to control your temper, no doubt. There is a hash language used in the industry, but those days has gone. So you have to communicate at all the levels, at sweeper levels, at unskilled people's level, at skilled people's, at managerial level, and sometimes you may be called by vice president also. So you have to communicate all at all the levels. So you should have proper communication skills. You should have proper soft skills. Of course, I do not mean that you should be very lenient and you should be very soft. Hmm? Then तुम्हारा कोई सुनेगा भी नहीं ऐसा है. So wherever necessary, you have to show your powers, you have to show your authority, uh, so that peoples don't take you in ride. Hmm? अरे ये सुपरवाइजर है, हाँ, इसको कुछ भी करेगा तो भी चलेगा, नहीं करेगा तो भी चलेगा. हाँ, so the people should not take you in right. So you have to behave, accordingly. You have to behave accordingly, because some peoples they understand the harsh language, some peoples they understand the soft language. So accordingly you have to behave. Some peoples are very sensitive, so they get touched. Even हमारा internship में also there were cases. In internship also there were cases. Some students they could not uh, accept the language which was used in the shop floor. मतलब अरे तुम क्या पढ़ा, तुमको इतना भी नहीं आता है क्या, ये भी नहीं समझ में आता है, समटाइम्स तो तुम गधा है. हाँ, ये वर्नियर भी पढ़ने को नहीं आता. Like this, the language was used, and the interns were touched, and mm, they approached, the college, that this is what is happening. We have been asked to do anything, uh, then we are tortured. The hash language is used. But see, you have to go through all these, phases. So you should not burn your heart. But if it is repetitive, no, if it is same as like you have tried, you have shown your improvement, and still it is happening, then definitely, you can think. But initially, say once or twice, if they are said and accordingly you have showed your interest and you have improved. अरे इतना भी पढ़ने को नहीं आता है, then you have taken a corrective measure and ठीक है नहीं आता है, I will learn. Okay, 1 year I have forgotten. ठीक है, so uh, you have now taken uh, initiative and you know now how to read, and still he is behaving like that. If your supervisor तुम गधा है, ये पढ़ने को नहीं आता है वगैरह, then definitely, it's a time to think, I said. But see that you have good communication skill, you have soft skills, and you communicate at all the levels. You communicate at every, and I have seen with my own eyes, the peoples or the workers, they like some supervisors, they do not like some supervisors. Uh, the output is little more, or the discipline is little more in particular under the supervision of some peoples, and same thing it is noticed that it is bad under the supervision of some peoples, like that it is. Then it helps in doing costing. You can estimate the delivery dates. It is very helpful for cost reduction and to control the cost. Then since you have SOPs, you can train the new employees. As I said that ineffective time, that is NVA, can be found out. Then workers performance, this is what is most important task in industrial engineering, that is to evaluate the workers performance and to decide upon the incentive schemes. Then it helps in facilitating operations scheduling, that is you can schedule operations, and this is linked with your delivery schedule. So once your operations are scheduled, then you can uh, decide your delivery dates. Then based on this time, performance, you can come up with wage incentive schemes, wage incentive schemes. And as I told, incentives are very important. Even I have given an example of BEST conductors, and if you observe the ticket carefully, there you might have seen, 15 paisa. Like suppose if the ticket is 6 rupees, earlier tickets, not nowadays ticket, machine printed. Nahi. Earlier when you used to, punch the tickets, if you have those tickets, even nowadays printed tickets I have not noticed, but the earlier tickets, suppose जो 5 rupees का ticket रहेगा तो उसके ऊपर ऐसा 475 plus 25, like that it was written, so that 25 paisa goes as an incentive to the conductor. And 4 rupees 75 paisa goes to the BST. So that's why conductor, struggles. He will go in a crowd also, and he will ask each and every person, ticket liya kya, ticket liya kya, because he knows that if he is, giving tickets to 10 peoples, he is going to get 2 rupees 50 paisa additionally. And like that, conductors they earns 4,000, 5,000 rupees per month other than their salary as an incentive. So that keeps on motivating them. Otherwise, no conductor will bother. Like suppose Andheri station to Sakinaka route, crowded route. Why the conductor will bother? जिसको लेना है उसको लेने दो, नहीं लेना है उसको नहीं लेना। टीसी आएगा तो बोलेगा कंडक्टर कि अरे देखो कितना भीड़ है करके, आई कैनॉट go from this end to other end. But since they have incentives, he is on his toe. Mm. So these objectives and uses are almost same. That is, you can compare the efficiency of alternative methods always before and after. That is important. You can estimate the cost, then pricing, incentive. Same it is capacity planning, production schedule. Objectives will go hand in hand with the uses of the work measurement. Capacity planning is nothing but what is the capacity of your plant if it works 24 by 7, that is the maximum output what you can earn uh, if you keep your resources working for 24 by 7. That is what is called as the capacity plan. So based on that, you you forecast you forecast your supply. That is, this is my plant capacity. Like say engine shop, I can make say 10,000 engines per month, so I cannot deliver more than 10,000 whatever I do. This is the maximum capacity, that is I am working for 24 hours. No, all the three shifts, even in the lunch also I am working. So even the tea breaks also I am working. I am How we are working in lunch time, that there is a team of other people, and these other people, they are called as the floaters. So this is again an important word from your oral point of view, examination point of view. What do you mean by floater worker? What do you mean by representative worker? What do you mean by skilled worker? So there is a term, there is a team of floater worker. Floater worker means if somewhere on some workstation, suppose if the peoples are absent, then this floater worker will go to that workstation and he will do that job. Even for the lunch also, not all the people they are going together. If they want to run 24 hours basis, then they send the people in groups, and there is a team of floater worker also. So they take care of the people who has gone for the lunch. Like suppose if 40 people are there, and if there is a team of 10 people, then all the 40 will not go together for the lunch. 10, 10, 10, or 20, 20 will go. And these floater workers, they are very high skilled. They are like everything they know. Huh? They are the most experienced, so they take the place of these people, and this way the work continues. And uh, the concept of floater worker is to take care of the absent peoples or absent workers. So this is what comes under the capacity planning. That is, if I am running a plant for 24 hours by 7 days and by 365 days, how much I am going to produce, above which it is not possible. So I cannot deliver. more than that. This is also helpful for providing estimates for tenders, selling prices, and delivery promises, so that there are no production delays, and resource utilization is maximum. So what are the steps? You have to select the job that is to be measured, break the job into operations. So you should have your checklist, or you should have your operation sheet ready. Then determine the number of observations, how many observations you have to do, 5 observation, 10 observation. Then with a timing device, record the time in a time study form. So time study is a part of the work measurement that you know by this time. And then you get observed time. So there is a difference between observed time, normal time, which is also called the basic time, and standard time. See this, you have to remember, this is always asked. So once you have observed time, with the help of the stopwatch, then you can calculate the normal time, by using performance rating factor. Like every worker has been assigned a rating factor, worker A, worker B, worker C. So normal time is calculated. We will see for an example on this, so that time it will be more clear. Then you have to add some allowances in this. This is the observed time. Based on that, you have calculated the normal time, and then you add process allowance, rest, fatigue allowance. Rest allowance is also called the fatigue allowance. Then personal allowance. Personal allowance means like going for the washrooms, etc. And special allowances. Some special allowances to this normal time in order to get the standard time. So you have observed time, normal time, and standard time. Then you have to define the new method. If you have suggested some alternative method, then install that new method. And most important is maintaining. Maintaining is always important. You can take 10 lakhs ka car, but you have to see whether it is possible to maintain or not. Fuel prices are rising, then breakdown maintenance, preventive maintenance, kilometer maintenance, 105 rupees per liter. So whether it is possible to maintain, and whether I am going to use it, I am going to get a returns or not. That is what you have to see. It is easy to buy, but it is difficult to maintain, because there is no point investing 10 lakhs, or taking a loan of 10 lakhs and paying 10,000 rupees per month as a EMI, and not using it. So that becomes a white element. So what are the techniques here? Work measurement ka? It's first, the most important is time study. Now nobody does this time study, but you should know what is time study. Everybody goes as per the most, that is mannered operation sequence techniques. So time study may you are using stopwatch, and stopwatch, different kinds of stopwatch, depends upon the what kind of work you are doing. You have to use a stopwatch. Like suppose if you are using, if it is a CNC machines, or if it is welding, so obviously in CNC machine you get the time directly on the uh, machine control, but still you need to check. But if you have automats, or if you have turret lathe, so there, if the operation is very precision, or if the operation is very fast, then you have to have a stopwatch of least count 1 second, or maybe 1/100 of second. Hmm. But if it is just a welding, where it is the activities are not very fast, welding, normal arc welding, and then you can go for stopwatch of 1 second, discount 1 second. If it is spot welding, that is resistance welding, फटाफट welding होता है. So there again, you need to have a stopwatch of very high list count. So this is how you use your stopwatch. Then work sampling. This is again another technique. Then predetermined motion time system, that is PMTS. This is the part. This leads to your PMT most. That is manner operation sequence technique.
Uh,
Yes.
सर ये टाइम स्टडी के लिए अभी क्या करते हो?
टाइम स्टडी के लिए अभी मोस्ट यूज करते हैं, मोस्ट मेथड ऑपरेशन सीक्वेंस टेक्निक।
सर क्या रहते हो?
Maynard operation sequence technique में each and every there are many activities on the shop floor which has been defined. Uh, how much time it will take? Like suppose if the workers walks for 5 steps, then how much time will be required? If the worker is lifting the workpiece from the floor and if he is keeping on the table, which height is say 4 feet, how much time it will take? If the worker is turning the screw by say 1 ton, then how much time it will take? So like that all the activities in most has been defined and its time is also defined in most. So what you do for a particular method or for a particular work, you define what is the work content, and then sitting on a table on a desk only you give the time. uh, like suppose if I want to assemble a pen, so I have most has given me all the time required. So accordingly I will calculate the time, okay, and I will come to the total time, and then I will tell the worker this is what the time uh, which is required for performing this activity. Like suppose if you want to lift a differential gearbox, so bringing a crane from a distance of say 2 feet, how much time it will take? Then lowering down the hoist from a distance of 10 feet, how much time it will take? So all these timings are defined. Then for uska rope, if you want to tie the rope, or if you want to tie the hook, if you want to fix up the hook to the differential gearbox, then how much time it will take? Then load, then unload it at a position, how much time it will take? So all this time has been defined in most. Again, it is classified under 3 activities. So this also we will discuss, but right now you just remember that most it is a mathematical technique where all the activities are predefined, timings are predefined, and then you um, divide your present activity into small elements, okay, and looking in the most chart, you assign the time and then calculate, add up the total time. So here in most, you are not supposed to go to the shop floor, and you have to stand in front of operator and start the stopwatch and note down the time. So
सर तो
this
मतलब
is
एक हैंडबुक रहता है
हाँ
जिसको
हैंडबुक रहता
पहले।
है और ऑफलाइन एक्टिविटी रहते हैं मोस्ट, मतलब ये जो टाइम स्टडी का टेक्निक ऑफलाइन एक्टिविटी रहते हैं। हाँ हैंडबुक रहता है, यस हैंडबुक में सारे मतलब एक्टिविटीज जो है वो डिफाइंड रहता है, उसका टाइम भी डिफाइंड रहता है, तो वो देख के हम लोग को टोटल टाइम कैलकुलेट करना पड़ता है इंडस्ट्रियल इंजीनियर को। आई थिंक इट इज क्लियर, नो देव?
यस।
Yeah. Even peoples are trying to make softwares for this most, but it will take some time because it is very थोड़ा complex है, complicated है, but yes it is taking shape. At least when I was there doing my research work in Mahindra's assembly line, so there Mahindra they had assigned to develop the software for this for their assembly line, but they failed. They failed. I mean, it was so complicated, and one has to sit there, and it was a task of multidiscipline, like the computer engineer as well as production engineer. Coding bhi tha, and there was a lot of technical work which only production engineer can understand and can dictate to the computer. But still, they are developing, and hopefully now it has come to the completion stage. So the beauty of that software will be that once you have, you know, a new job, then immediately it will give the time. Immediately it will give the time. Like हम लोग को CNC लेथ में कैसा if you are turning, but that is very simple. The machine gives the time. In toolpath simulation, you get the machining time. So same in most also you will get the time for the particular activity for a particular workstation. So predetermined motion time systems, it leads to your most uses this PMTS. Then you have structured estimation. So in structured estimation you have analytical estimation. This is what I told, that is most is a kind of analytical estimation. And comparative estimation, comparative estimation means what, you already have some data, that is historical data, so you are comparing with that. Okay, the new job you are comparing with the old job. What is the difference? Like now suppose old job may to turn 100 mm length, it is taking say 1 minute. So now you have got new job whose length is say 150 mm. So the time will be 1.5 minutes. So this is what is called the comparison method. So these are the different techniques like time historical data method. This is what I told just now. PMTS. This is the most powerful technique nowadays. It will be used, and this will be very soon. It will be digitized. Then you have work sampling. So here workers are observed many times and randomly. Time study. Time study. Here the engineers uses stopwatch. And then there was so time study, why it is failing, because the workers were not cooperative. Then there was a threat given to the engineers. क्या करता है, हमको सिखाता है क्या, कैसा दिखता है, बाहर देखेंगे, like this. So time study. Now if you forget that part, okay, we can discuss this work measurement technique. Like if you forget that worker ka philosophy or mental attitude, then what are the different techniques? Time study, that is the first technique. So it is used for short cycle or medium cycle repetitive jobs, and it is widely used for the direct work. And what is the list count? 0.01 minutes. So into, if you say 60, so that will come to how much? It will come to 0.6 seconds. Okay, 1 by 100 into 60, so that will come to 0.6 seconds, almost you can say half a second. So even you can go for 0.1 seconds or even 0.01 seconds also, that depends upon the kind of the work. Mostly in electronic industries we go for 1 by 10 of or 1 by 100 of the discount, having 1 by 100 of the second. Then work sampling, that is we are observing people randomly, so that is generally it is used for the long cycle jobs, that is fabrication activities, where you cannot stand and do the time study. So it's a random observation. So that's why you cannot measure in seconds, so you have to go for the minutes. Then short cycle repetitive jobs, this is something similar to time study, so this is not being used. Analytical estimation is mathematical tool like most. This can be used for your short cycle or even long cycle also, analytical estimating. And then MTM, that is manual technical methods, MTA, that is manual operation confined to one work center. So this leads to your most, and 1 TMU is equal to 0.006 minute. This is the list count. So here in time study, we have to stand there on the shop floor, and this was developed by Frederick Taylor. And as I said, that it is useful for your short cycle repetitive jobs. This procedure remains same what we have seen in the method study, that is select. Select means select the job, what is to be done, then obtain the data, record it, define, measure it, then if is there any alternative method, so that you determine. Okay, establish that alternative method and then compute the new time. So obtaining and recording all available information. This is the first step in time study. That is, you are obtaining the information about the job. You have to study the job properly. Not only that, you have to also obtain the information about the operator. Then ergonomics. That is, what are the surrounding conditions. So that also you have to understand. Like suppose if it is summer and you are doing the time study, that is in heat treatment, which is long cycle jobs, or if you are doing a time study in your cleaning, that is in your galvanizing section, in summer. So uh, there you need to study the ergonomic conditions, that is surrounding condition, how it is, whether it is slippery, whether it is heaty, moist, all those, because that has to be recorded down, because that affects the time. So the time study which is done in summer in a galvanizing department and in a winter will give you different times. So in order to analyze that, you need to have the record of surrounding condition. Then recording the complete description of the method. Break down that into elements. Measure with a stopwatch. That is what the measure means. And record the time. Then you have to give the rating to the worker. Then convert that observed time into basic time. Then add allowances and then determine the standard time. So there are 3 times: observed time, basic time, and standard time. Okay, so the fight occurs here in the standard time. That is, what kind of allowances you have to give, how much allowances you have to give. So there is always a tussle between union and management. कि टी ब्रेक के लिए 5 मिनट ही क्यों, लंच के लिए आधा घंटा ही क्यों, मॉर्निंग में टी ब्रेक एंड नाश्ता के लिए 10 मिनट क्यों, why not 15 minutes, ऐसा. Because and that's why you have to have a trade off. Because suppose 5 minutes का टी ब्रेक है, the people who are working in an engine shop, उनका हाथ काला होता है. Okay, so and with that because they are having grease, they are using the grease, etc., right, and they cannot drink the tea with that dirty hands, so they need to clean, even if it is disposable cups. If you want to really enjoy a cup of tea, then definitely you cannot have a plastic cup or a disposable cup with the dirty hands. Everybody would like to clean the hand, and wash basins will be 1 or 2, and if there are 40 people and if there are 2-3 wash basins, then it becomes a difficult task to assign or to give 5 minutes as a tea break. So then your skill of industrial engineering comes. Then what you will do, as your 40 people say, that you will divide into 4 groups. So 1 to 10, the tea vendor, जो चाय लेके आता है कैंटीन से, he will first go to workstation 1 to 10. So that time other people will be working. Then 5 minutes udhar ho gaya, then he will go to 11 to 20. Like that, he will go. The entire line will not be stopped. So what are the different type of elements? So different type of elements are repetitive element. Then repetitive means which you will see in every work cycle of the job. Then occasional element. Occasional element is like machine setting. अभी machine setting है, that you will not see, like suppose if you have a batch of say 500 pieces. Okay, so machine setting you are doing only once during the beginning of that 500 pieces. Like suppose you want to change the jaws, hard jaw से soft jaw. अभी hard jaw का काम हो गया, now you have to set up soft jaw, then you have to set up the tools. So this will be in the beginning only, it will not come in every work. So that's why it is called the occasional element. But once those 500 pieces are done, then for the new setting again changes will occur. That is from 3 jaw to 4 jaw, or from 4 jaw to 2 jaws. There are 2 jaws also. Then change of the tools. So the machine setting will be in picture for the batches, for the batches. Then there are some constant elements like basic time here. See, first is your observed time, then is your basic time, and then is your normal time. So there are some elements for which the time is same. It's not, it doesn't vary. It is not stochastic. Stochastic means what? The time which is going to change, variable time, uncertain, not uniform. That is what is called the stochastic element. So like switching the machine on or switching the machine off. Switching the machine on will take some time, fixed time. Like आप पहले गया सर्किट ब्रेकर का स्विच ऑन किया, ओके, then सर्किट ब्रेकर के बाद सपोज इफ यू द ऑपरेटर इज वर्किंग ऑन मशीन नंबर 1, तो वहाँ का जो पावर सप्लाई स्विच रहेगा दैट ही विल स्विच ऑन. देन उसके बाद ही विल गो टू द वोल्टेज स्टेबलाइजर, उसको स्विच ऑन करेगा. देन वोल्टेज स्टेबलाइजर जाने के बाद देन जो मशीन ही विल कम टू द मशीन, लेट्स से लेथ मशीन और सीएनसी लेथ. तो लेथ मशीन का जो पावर ऑन स्विच है उसको ऑन करेगा. सो ये 4 एलिमेंट्स हो गया. देन ही विल कम टू द कंट्रोल. सो कंट्रोल में ही विल स्विच ऑन द hydraulic pump on, and that will trigger out the entire machine. So like this there will be sequence of say 5 to 6 elements. So it takes fixed time, so that's why it is called the constant element. The variable element matlab kya? It will vary as per the product, as per the equipment or process. So if the dimensions, like suppose if the raw material allowance is more, or if there is a hard spot, then pushing the trolley to the next shop. So these are the variable elements for which the basic time will vary. It may not remain same. So again we are discussing the type of elements. So manual element is nothing but an element which is performed by a worker. Then we have machine element. Machine element matlab the work which is done by the machine. So that is your machine element. Governing element matlab like a bottleneck element, like the element which is taking more time. That is why the bottleneck element. Like suppose 4 of you are walking from Father Agnes College to the Bandra station. Then out of 4, suppose if one boy is slow, then time to reach Bandra station will be decided by the student who is walking slow or the student who is taking longer time. So he is the bottleneck. So you have to identify that bottleneck. Why he is walking slow? Whether he is not feeling well, he is sick, he is having fever, or he has some problem with legs, or he has not taken breakfast, or he has not ate. So that's why he is feeling hungry and he. So like that, same thing. Bottleneck elements you have to identify in a particular sequence of operations in a particular assembly line, and you have to see that bottlenecks are removed. Then a foreign element is observed during a study. So foreign element means कुछ भी dust आता है, dirt आता है. So that you need to, or sometimes foreign element can be even these also, like power goes off. Okay, so that is also a foreign element, right? So performance rating, you have to, again here there are some clashes takes place with the union. So performance rating is nothing but a step in the work measurement in which the analyst, like industrial engineer, he observes the worker's performance and records a value that represents his performance relative to the what is industrial engineer's concept is, what he has, that is yes, इसके दिमाग में है कि this job like most has given me, or he has estimated, his senior or his manager has told that this job will take say 5 minutes. Okay, so that is what is standard performance. Okay, so with respect to this worker is taking 6 minutes. Okay, so that means he is taking 20% more. So his performance rating will be 80%. If he is taking only 5 minutes and 5 minutes has been told by the manager, then yes, his performance rating is 100%. So this will be very useful, for the peoples to do their jobs. Then suppose if somebody's performance rating is say 40% or 50%, like 5 minutes ka time hai, but he's taking 7.5 minutes. So you have to check why so. You have to identify the training and education needs. He has to be trained, or sometimes the peoples are demotivated because of the salaries. उसको सैलरी ज़्यादा है, उसको प्रमोशन मिला, मेरे को नहीं प्रमोशन मिला, उसको कुछ अंडर द टेबल पर्क्स मिलता है. दिस ऑल्सो थिंग्स keeps on happening. And people see this is very dynamic, so very dynamic. Like suppose promotion is given to Mr. X, Mr. Y will immediately come to know. In big organization, in small organization it may not, where it is ownership company or proprietorship company, it the peoples may not understand, because if the proprietor wants to give something extra, he will call that person at his home also, and he'll give in cash. Or maybe if the some peoples are not around, that time also he will give in cash. So these are the factors which affects the rating, which you need to identify and uh, keep motivating the peoples. So this performance rating, you have to give the feedback to the worker, how accurate he is and what is his performance. So rating factor is nothing but observed performance and divided by the normal performance. Okay, so observed performance is same 7.5 and normal performance is 5. So 7.5 divided by 5, so that will be 150%. So 50% more is taken. And again same for performance rating methods. There are different methods. Performance rating, speed rating. This is actually prepared for industrial engineering when the subject was taken for the entire semester, and when HRM was not there. So that's why it has been given in more details, like speed rating, Westinghouse method of rating, synthetic rating, objective rating. So these are the different rating methods which are not there for, for examination. But you should know only the names, that is sufficient. Then pace rating is nothing but the speed rating. Westinghouse system of rating. So it considers the 4 factors. Say in pace rating, we are considering the speed of the people. Say some people are very fast, some people are medium, so this is the speed is measured in pace rating. Okay. This is very important. Pace rating is very important when there are assembly lines of moving conveyor type. See, most of the assembly lines are moving conveyor type. Moving conveyor में क्या होता है? The conveyor is moving. Okay, and in the conveyor, on the conveyor, like suppose there is a lengthy say 100 meters ka conveyor, so and there are say 30 workstations. Okay, so the people who is working at workstation 1, he has to move along with the conveyor. Remember, he has to move along with the conveyor. So phone करता हूँ, lecture खत्म होने को है. So he has to move along with the conveyor. Now what happens? The conveyor speed can be changed, slow or fast, depending upon the work content. So if the conveyor speed is, like suppose the manager, if he wants more production, okay, then he will increase the speed of the conveyor. Will increase the speed of the conveyor. So you have to, people, they have to move with the conveyor, do the activities fast, okay, and then again come back to their original position. Again they have to come back to their original position for the next or for the subsequent job. So this time the speed is very important, okay. So how the manager manages, like suppose if you want more pieces, more output, then he assigns more people. He increases the speed of the conveyor, and simply by increasing the speed of the conveyor, there is a limitation for the people to work with the speed. So he has to assign the more people, I said. And suppose if a particular day the demand is low, that is supply is only 100 pieces instead of 300 pieces. So that time what he does, वो आदमी लोग को निकाल देता है वहां से, और फ्रॉम दैट वर्क स्टेशन, एंड ही यूजेस दैट पीपल समवेयर एल्स, ऐसा रहता है. Then Westinghouse system of rating. So there are four factors this method considers. There is skill, effort, conditions. So this method considers four factors in evaluating the performance of operator. That is skill, effort, conditions, and consistency. See, most important is consistency. This is what is
Sir, we are
most.
not able to hear your voice in the background.
Hello. The most important. Hello, can you hear me? There is some disturbance. Some construction work is going on here. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
here. So that's why sometimes it is very noisy. Oh, tapak, tapak. अपने construction चालू. So efforts, conditions, consistency. Most important is consistency. See, you have to rate high if the operator is slow, but if he is consistent. Consistency, uniformity is most important. Like the particular operator, he is very fast, but he has produced 100 pieces, and out of 100 pieces, 30 pieces are rejected, and another person, he has produced 80 pieces, but all 80 pieces are good. So definitely you give higher rating to the operator B. Then objective rating, that is here speed of the movements and the job difficulties, they are rated separately and they are combined. Okay. So rating factor R can be expressed as R is equal to P into D, where P is the pace rating, that is speed, and D is the job difficulty factor. So with this you come to the objective rating. Then you have synthetic rating. So synthetic rating, how it is modeled mathematically, it is given by R is equal to P by A. And what is P? P is nothing but predetermined motion time of the element. That is, you have some predetermined time, and then what is the actual observed time. So this comes under synthetic rating. Then you have standard time, that is how to define the standard time. That is, first you have basic observed time, that is also called as the basic time. Then you have normal time, and then you have standard time. So standard time may you have to give the allowances. Okay. So if it is very heaty, then you have to give more allowances. That's why the people who are working in air conditioned, they perform better. So it may be defined as the amount of time required to complete a unit of work under existing working condition, using the specified method and machinery, then by an operator who is able to work in a proper manner and at a standard pace. So what does it consist of? It consists of observed time, it consists of performance rating, and it consists of allowances, right? Then there is the interference and contingency allowance also. Then policy allowance. Policy allowance means what is decided between your union and management. So here there are different allowances, like allowances for inspection of the part. Then sometimes there are interruptions because of the power failure or equipment breakdown. Sometimes, so that also you need to consider. Then no allowances are given. This is important for interruptions which may be due to the factors which are within the operator's control. Means operator can control and it is avoidable. Okay, so for this there is no allowance. Right, so the allowances are classified under this category. So I think I did not notice. I think it's your break time. I'm sorry. So we'll stop here. If you have, I will appeal. Please request all the students to uh, join the class. I don't know what is the reason why the attendance is not there.
Sir, today actually there was an exam for the placement of this job interview and everything was there. So that's why
Okay,
students are busy with that exam.
okay. Which company?
So it's actually for Zeus learning.
Juice learning.
Yeah, yeah.
What is that? Juice learning.